That'll be fun.
She's hilarious.
All the girls together.
And
Like, what's the saying? Like a house on fire?
Well, my one sister at that last class was telling my mom all the stuff she does. Rather than looking at herself, and I'm going, are you kidding me? One day I know.
so I guess she missed the piece on blame.
Maybe you better go over that, buddy.
Oh, you guys, I'm getting so excited for that class.
How many are you cutting so far?
I'm at 44. So,
That's cool.
and that doesn't count the 4 people that you bought, but haven't actually had a clue of who you're bringing.
I know. I think let's see, how many did we buy?
It's like 7 or 8. No, okay, 3 and 3, 6, so 10.
10 of them, and so I have 9, and she has 1.
Yeah, my son took one of those.
So,
Well, between when you sign up at Money Mapping and then when you sign up at Face Mapping.
so
Yep.
9 people. So Jeff and I, so we have 7 we can bring. Well, we talked about our kids with their spouses, but I don't know if 2 of them would come, but
If it'll help them, they will.
we have
This is-
them, I don't think.
So this is my new, and I've been doing it all year because it's kind of making me overcome my chicken exit, and maybe someone else needs to hear this too. I'm done not asking. Because most reaction, not worse off.
True.
But if we're told yes, we might actually get one step closer to what we want. So if you ask your kids and it's not something they're interested in, what you did do was plant a bug in their ear. So it's just how you ask that's more important. So don't call your kids and be like, hey, you guys all suck at money. You missed that lesson because your dad and I are good at it. So I don't know what your problem is. So we bought a class for you.
No, I don't think I'll do
Your
that.
kids would all be like, thanks, Mom.
My oldest would come just for the fact that he goes, I've noticed how you progressed in the last year. And so we have really good conversations. He's got a bachelor's in psychology and Russian and a master's in social work.
Oh, wow.
So, so we've had some really good conversations lately.
I want to know how far into Russian culture he got and how psychology applies across that.
Oh, my
Well,
goodness.
he went on a mission to Ukraine, so he lived 2 years in Russia.
We might as well keep up.
And so,
So when he was learning Maslow's hierarchy of human needs in psychology, he was probably like, and that's why Russia's screwed.
yeah, he did not like, he said that.
What's the bottom?
Yeah, the physical.
All the physical. And I'm not trying to get political, so forgive me if this triggers you, but what is the problem with their current?
Communism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not communism, they have a president, but it still is. And when people if people are not required to work for what they want, they're happy getting what they get.
They're not a very happy people.
No, but they've convinced themselves, I can't have better than this.
Right.
I get what I get.
Yeah, they're kind of miserable people.
So it's really ironic to me that so many people in the United States are trying to socialize so many things. Because I'm like, do you not realize that it's the mere fact that you have never accomplished something that is your actual problem? It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with socioeconomic status. It has to do with the fact that people are not feeling accomplished. They have nothing to be proud of themselves for. They have nothing to say, look what I did. Not even when they create a child.
That's interesting.
So,
And then enters my soapbox with trades. There are not enough people willing to do a trade. They've been told not to.
or they have past personal experience that they got screwed on the trade.
Oh yeah,
But you taught us how to make it.
we've got plenty of things.
Well, I taught it in message mapping.
Okay, well, you taught us somewhere.
So that's actually, and is that something I need to bring up in money mapping?
Probably.
Okay.
Well, it should be,
I think so, yeah.
value to value.
Yeah.
You've got it. That's what we learned, we had a few mishaps. But, Jeff's got kind of a lot of things that people gave him and he goes, well, I knew I wasn't getting anything else. So he took it.
So something was better than nothing. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Whatever was agreed upon was not met.
so I'm gonna write a note and we're gonna come back to that. Okay. So what I want to start with, it won't make any sense to anyone but me. Don't bother writing that down. It only makes sense in my head. Okay. So what I want to start with is successes. And you can look over the whole 15 weeks or just something that happened in the last 7 days.
I had something happen today.
Okay.
When we go to anywhere and they ask for a name,
Mm-hmm.
I never give my name. I always give Jeff's.
Huh.
And today I gave mine. And Jeff even noticed that
I
was mine.
love that.
So that was cool because even when she said, do you have a name? I sat there for a minute. I mean, I just a quick second, but for me it was a longer. And I went, Carrie.
Because in your mind, time basically stopped for like 45
Yes.
seconds.
Yes. But
And,
really,
and to her, you took a deep breath
Right.
and then answered her question.
but I thought that was a success because I finally feel better about me to be able to give my name.
Yeah.
So that was my goal.
I'm going to cry. That's huge. You don't have to hide behind him anymore.
I know. It's
And
cool.
you let a stranger know who you were.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So,
I think that's
so when I got your email and I read through it, I went, I haven't had any successes, and this is before today. And then when that happened, I went, I do have one.
that's the top of the pyramid.
Cool.
Do you see that you have literally went through the entire pyramid? And because I call it teach, but it's called in Maslow, it's self-actualization.
Yeah.
You found yourself. You found yourself so much that you'll voice it. That's why I call it teach. So even though you weren't teaching her who Carrie was, what you were teaching her was, I matter, and my name is Carrie.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
I love that. That's big. Out of sheer, I don't want to hear people slaughter my name, I'm Rachel.
I want to call you Laurel Dawn because if I say Laurel Dawn, it's Laurel. But if I look at your name, it's Laurel. And it bugs me because I know your name, but it comes out Laurel.
Laurel.
But if it's Laurel Dawn, it's Laurel. Let's call it Laurel Dawn.
So, well, and now I have, so the women's retreat that I went to, there are 80 women there. And when I introduced myself, I said, my name is Laurel like floral, not Laurel like Carl.
And I remember Laurel.
So what was I called for the whole rest of the
Laurel.
Floral Laurel?
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, I would all through college, any jersey I had when I was on the rugby team, it didn't say Evans on the back, it said Floral. I was just Floral Laurel. That was part of my campaign when I won vice president. It was it's Laurel like floral. So everyone remembered. Except then it's confusing because they want it spelled like floral,
Yeah.
but they still understood it. Okay. So what other successes are there? Don't go into comparison. Okay.
There's my classes.
Yes.
Packages. I just need to email them.
I was hoping you'd have it done by today because I didn't give you a strict deadline, but I was hoping.
Done yesterday.
So what is your favorite one? What's the one you hope people pick?
The number 3, which is energy healing with personal mentoring. I'm going to include a bottle of drops, which I need to talk to you about, which I have $30 value by,
Mhm.
and a lift up and let go technique, not just homework.
I love that. So that's really easy because I just incorporate into my loss in expenses. So like the oil kits, which are here, by the way, for the people that are in the certification class, those, I mean, I just paid full retail for them. So that was just out of the money that you guys gave me. I knew that there was that much going to someone else. So that's actually one of the reasons why I adjusted the price.
And the other ones, they'll get drops, but with the option of purchasing. But in the big one, they get the bottle.
They just come with them. I love that. And that's something you can do in foot zoning, is you can just give them the list of the oils that you used on them. Or if they buy the upper package, they get a small bottle of whatever oils you use that day to go home with them.
Because then they're taking something home. Yeah.
People love physical objects. Even if it's crap. They're like, look, I got a flashlight.
You know what? That is so true.
So it's free.
I know. People like free stuff.
And-
in their mind it's free, but it's not.
And if it's a really nice pen, like it has a good grip on it or it's really smooth to write with, if you give them a crappy pen, they're like, meh. But if you give them a good pen, they're like,
You can't
you can't take my pen. These are my pens. I found pens and they're triangle. And just the way that they fit in my hand, I'm like, this is so luxurious. And I thought about putting them out there and I was like, no, people will take these.
Yes, you gotta have the kind they don't want.
Pens are the most texture-related, cling-to items my children own.
Yep. Oh, you don't take my husband's pens.
You don't take mine.
You don't take mine either.
See?
I go through the office and say,
See?
who took my pen?
I went through 4 different brands of pens, and I'm like, which ones will you not lose?
Yeah.
Well, I love the way this one writes. Of course, it's the most expensive freaking high school pen there is.
Yup. Yup.
You better not lose it, because I will buy it.
Yup.
At work, I got those little label machines, and they put stuffies around. Everyone here to give it back.
You're like, this is my pen. No one touch it. Okay, so follow-up question. What's your price range? What's your lowest, your highest?
50. Okay, 1 for 50, 6 for 240 prepaid.
Okay.
And then my highest,
What if they have to pay in payments?
I guess I'd be okay with that. I need to
How-
touch square.
How many sessions do they get for the 240?
6.
6?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so here's my suggestion on that.
Okay.
Don't ever let them get through more than half their package without paying in full.
Okay.
They get more out of it
I was gonna say, $240 though, most people can put that on a credit card.
if they have a credit card.
Oh, that's true too.
Carrie, I offer $67 classes. And do you have any idea how many people say to me, I just don't have money for that? Because it's not a priority to them yet. If health is not a priority,
Yeah.
no amount of money.
Then they can
That's
pay 1
true.
for 50 and come in 6 times.
Exactly.
That's true.
So that is an option of how you would market that is, I am happy to just see you once whenever you can come in, but it would save you quite a bit of money if you did it this other way.
And then my most expensive is 150 or 6 prepaid for 780. So you
I
say
like that.
10, 20, or $30.
Okay.
If you per session if you buy 6.
I like that.
That's good.
Thank you.
Nope, that works. I just noticed my husband fixed my ceiling tile.
Oh yeah.
Squirrel! Sorry. I don't even know when he did it. Sweet. Because it's just been kind of hanging there. Huh. Oh. Okay. Other thing with that is what leads them to the personal mentoring?
The classes.
Okay. And what are your class prices?
Classes are free.
Okay, that's totally fine. Because if you're going from free to 47, not 50, if you're going from free to 47, that's a good jump.
Okay.
So,
But the reason I went to 50, because this lady says, I don't want to have change. I just want round bills.
are you paying in cash though?
Yeah.
A lot of times I do. In fact, I'll just tell you, I go see Jackie
Mm-hmm.
and she says, well, if you sign up and give me your credit card or whatever, I'll take $10 off. And I said, I don't tip, so I'll just pay the whole thing. You know,
So you can pay it in cash.
yeah.
Okay.
And I don't like to have change. I don't like to have, I mean, if I can just hand a 50, I'm good.
So that's why I went round a 0 instead of a 7.
See how it goes.
Okay.
Because it's under $100. So the market research is really varied.
So then on the $100 one should be 97 and the other 150 should be 147.
Unless your ideal client doesn't have money issues,
That's going to be my
That's true.
ideal client.
then don't worry about it.
They're going to be happy to pay the 150. And they were going to be grateful.
Yep. Because really what the 7s are for people that have money issues.
Yeah.
Because if it ends in a 5 or a 0, it triggers their money
Well,
issues.
one of my classes is going to take care of that.
Good.
Because I go to yours.
As soon as I learn what I'm supposed to teach.
But I read the book that you told me to get, and that is excellent. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the little teeny paperback.
As a Man Thinketh.
It has coins on the front.
Wallace Waddle.
Yes. I can't remember the name
The
of it.
Science of Getting Rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wallace Wattle. The Science of Getting
It's
Rich.
a very easy, fun read.
Yeah. It's like not even 50 pages.
The house that Jack built, because he goes through and adds on and adds on and adds on.
Yep. So it was while I was reading that book that I actually got the very, very clear, decisive, you have to teach people about money.
Well, I was going to just take his book and break it down, and then you said, I'm having a money class. It's like, oh, can I wait?
Because I'm using that book, but then I have 4 other money books that I'm using.
Cool.
So, and then just my own crap that I've overcome being raised in a 4 family. So the one I'm reading right now, ironically, is actually Miracle Morning. And it has nothing to do with money. But because I'm actually reading it for the second time with money in mind, not health, not organization. It's all about order and organization and morning routines. But I'm specifically reading it through a money lens. And it's a completely different book when you read it through a money lens. So really, you can take any personal development book, and if you read it through a money lens, through a health lens, through a relationship lens, it completely changes the book.
So you only need one book, right? And you could just
I've done it. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to tell you the ones that are actually the most interesting were written before 1960. Before the recession of the 80s and before the feminist movement. The ones that are the most powerful, because creation and feminine energy was still in balance.
So what? Recommend?
Probably it's long and boring, but there's a ton in it. But it's Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. That's probably not my first recommendation, though. Let me think about it for a second.
I tried reading that.
You have some parts in there about contacting other dimensions and
He also wrote Outwitting the Devil, and I think that's what you're actually talking about. Or you're talking about transmutation.
I know that name and
He's written hundreds of books, and he apprenticed under Carnegie, Dale Carnegie, which I don't really like any of Carnegie's books, but they're all really good. Like the concepts, I don't enjoy the way he writes, but I enjoy other concepts. Oh, okay, my favorite one, which is actually modern, it was only written about 2 years ago, John C. Maxwell, No Limits. Because it actually talks about all your different capacities and how to increase them. The other one that I really like that is really universal, the modern version of it, which is easier to read, is The Compound Effect. But the older version of it is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
So who wrote The Compound Effect?
It starts with an H. Hardy, Darren Hardy.
What was it called?
The Compound Effect.
And who wrote it?
Darren Hardy. And you guys will start reading it and you're like, ooh, that's where Laurel got that.
Everybody gets it from somewhere.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I read some of the older ones, and then I'll read like one that was written in the last decade, and I'm like, you totally just got this from his book. He just modernized it and put a better cover on it. But everything from Wallace Waddle, I love. He is very, 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 he calls it source energy, but he's talking about God and how you have to be one with source energy. And it's like, yep. And he has this whole tangent, which it's in, I can't remember which book it's in. I'll have to look at it and post it. But he has this whole tangent about how the Dark Ages were the Dark Ages because the Catholic Church took over and took away man's free will to connect with God. You had to go through the church to be able to connect to your higher power. He said, and all of a sudden, people stopped getting what they wanted. And then as soon as people broke away from that and went and said, no, I can have a personal relationship with God, we had the Renaissance and the Reformation and the Age of Enlightenment. And I was like, yeah, and the restoration of the gospel. But I mean, that really is, they're called the Dark Ages for a reason. And it wasn't just because the Holy Ghost or that there was no gospel on the earth. It was that people were cut off from God, from source energy. So I was like, so this has been my trick. How do I teach money without going to church?
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I have to go there because there are some people that think you can't be rich and righteous. So that's what I'm working on right now. So maybe that's what you need to learn from the class. Not that you can't get what you need for your classes with the books, but how I teach it to uber religious to, I haven't talked to God in years. Because that's what I'm working with. As I read over the class, I was like, I have two full-on atheists that are going to be in the money mapping class. And so I'm like, this will be really interesting. So, and the thing is, I don't change what I teach. I just change the words I use.
The way it's presented.
Yeah. So, because that's not me. And if you don't like how I teach, then don't come to one of my classes anymore. Okay. So when are you going to market that? Because, this is why I'm asking these questions. Friday is your last morning call. So I'm going to say this. That is the last time that they will be facilitated by me. But because I'm not doing group mentoring again, the phone number is not going to be used for anything. So you can talk amongst yourselves and decide.
So we can schedule a call on our group chat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's totally up to you. This is and I'm going to tell you right now, because I've done this over a dozen times now and I know what happens. People are so glad to be done with the call on Monday. And on Tuesday, they inadvertently wake up because they forgot they didn't have the call. And by Wednesday, they haven't done anything for 2 days and they're like, crap, I'm really starting to miss those calls.
Well, I missed it 2 days just because sleeping and just stuff.
Circumstances.
But I got on this morning just a little bit late. I was just like, oh, I was just because it was over the weekend.
Where's Stephanie? I hope she's okay.
It's a big gap.
Yep. That is, yeah. Out of the whole program, the thing you will miss the most is the calls. It's the accountability. Because you guys will still take progress and you will still take action, but you won't necessarily have that every morning celebration. Or someone...
Who gets to start their morning talking to their friend?
Right?
What a better way to start your day.
You know, I said to my wife, I said, the calls end on Friday, and I said, I won't have to get up later. And she goes, you're always up before that. What are you talking about? And I go, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just going to put that out there. The phone number will not be used for anything. And if it does, then I'll let you guys know, but that's totally up to you.
Well, even if it's like a once a week check-in.
Yep. Or if you have an ongoing Facebook Messenger, whatever. Okay, so when are you scheduling your next class?
I
And which one is it?
don't know. I haven't gotten that far. I just wrote that down last night. Give me a day.
This was the thought process. Oh crap, Laurel gave me homework and I'm gonna see her tomorrow.
No, exactly what I said actually,
Before I left.
Actually, my friend that's a business person came over yesterday and we did this.
You do it together.
So how you said health influencer, I looked up influencers. I'm not really sold on that.
Mm-hmm.
Specialist, director, expert, advisor, guide, or consultor. I don't know.
Which one feels the best to you?
I don't know.
Ask others then.
That will be my mastermind on Friday.
Or like what you call yourself?
Mhm.
Oh, well, registered nurse, and I am going to keep that in.
Yeah, you should.
Personal
Yeah.
mentor, health influencer, and then presenter.
Or are you gonna do health something?
Health specialist, health director, health expert.
Health director makes you sound like you're the manager of a hospital,
Yeah.
so I veto
I'm
director.
gonna take that one off.
Health advisor, health guide, or health consultant.
Health consultant. How about health consultant?
Is it advisor? I think health advisor is an actual website.
Mhm.
We will go there.
That's the other thing I was gonna say is Google
Oh, yeah.
the title.
Yeah.
Because guess what I just found out? Feature mapping is a term used in programming for software.
Oh.
So it's already trademarked. So now I have to start calling everything body mapping because out of face mapping, feature mapping, and body mapping mapping is the only one I can trademark. I can keep it as a class title, but I can't trademark it. So I'll have to rebrand again. It's fine. Learn from my mistakes, people. Learn from my mistakes. Whatever you're going to call yourself, Google and see what comes up. That's one of the reasons I stopped saying personal image profiling is because when you put in personal image profiling, I got a whole bunch of FBI profiling websites and books and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I do not want to be known as a profiler because people automatically go to criminal intent
Yeah, that's true.
and shows that they've seen on TV about people who profile criminals and masterminds. And I'm like, that's not the energy I want at all. So whatever you decide, Google it.
Okay.
And see what pops up. Okay, what about this side of the room? What are some successes you guys have had?
Winner.
P.S. I asked your son when he's going to start dating, and he got all giggly. So he likes someone, whether he's told you or not.
Oh.
That's more stress on the mom.
No, he's an adult. He should like someone.
He's in his
He's
20s.
20.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
The problem is if it's the one,
He doesn't like any of her friends, though. Yeah.
if it's the one that he has always liked, she's the one that uses him for safety nets.
We got to cut those cords. All right, successes. Sorry, I didn't mean to scroll that dramatically. I just looked at you, and that was what what came to my mind.
I finished a few projects. Got one of my blankets put together that I bought stuff for Christmas.
That's a big thing.
It's average time for me too.
That's not next week.
You said you finished a craft. I'm already impressed.
Me too. Tiffany and I have been meal planning.
That is big.
The fact that she wants to learn to cook as many different things as she wants to has led to meal planning.
That's cool.
So we've been meal planning. It's off and on, but we have been.
It goes very
But what is that going to do to her self-care?
She's always done pretty good, and it's helping me maintain it really well. For better or worse, she has now become disgusted with all of her friends who don't bother to cook anything. And
So
she's thinking of dragging them to my house to show them.
help her stay out of judgment.
I just tell her, Tiffany, not everybody knows this. Not everybody was raised this way.
But that
You want to.
But that is a great opportunity for you to bring people over And what's the top of the pyramid?
Teaching.
So what is she inadvertently trying to do?
Raise them up.
Level up. She recognizes if I teach other people, and the more that she feels like she can teach people about cooking, is that going to make her cook more or less? More. Okay, so I'm gonna backtrack even farther. Why do you think she's interested in cooking all of a sudden?
Physical.
Not only is it physical, Tiffany is my super long-term planner. As a freshman, she had already researched which universities have a trade agreement for out-of-state tuition to go to veterinary school.
Okay, I'm gonna steer you in another direction.
So she was learning how to live on her own, actually. That's where she...
In her mind, she's prepping so she can live on her own because she knows she's going to be out of state. Why do you think she feels like she has permission to learn these things? What has she seen in you?
We've always told the kids, learn whatever you want to,
But what have you been doing?
as much as you want to.
What has she actually seen you do? Say it out loud.
I've been learning.
What?
Several things at once, so.
So what is that giving your young teenage daughter permission to do?
To do the same.
To do the same. When moms get worried about their kids, do I give them advice on how to help their kids? Or do I say, Mom, you need to focus on you. You need to clean out your kitchen and get rid of all your Tupperware. You need to stop drinking energy drinks. And guess what? Your whole family has completely depleted themselves on. Not because they don't have access to them anymore, but mom doesn't always have an energy drink in her hand. So what do kids not have in their hand all the time anymore? Every choice you've made over the last year, someone has seen. And now you're seeing it in your kids. You're seeing it in a son who works at a university. That he saw what were his options and he took his best one. Because what has he been seeing mom been doing for the last year? Taking what she got. Let me rephrase that. Taking what she got.
Teaching.
Or working smart, not hard, working smart for what she wants. I want you to find a picture of yourself from last year. Because it's different. It is. And where was your family last year? And what were their struggles?
I remember your picture of your Tupperware cupboard.
I remember the Tupperware cupboard too.
When we did this
Last year. She had a box full of unmismatched Tupperware. It looked like a 90-year-old grandma's closet because it was like a Cool Whip bowl and some yogurt containers and some dollar store hodgepodge. Yeah. So.
When you have something to say, it is worth listening to. She is very insightful.
You are.
Do you know the number one? Do you know the number one comment that I've gotten from every person in the group? It's always been about you. She doesn't talk often, but when she does, everyone on the call just goes silent because it's gold. And they're like, wait, Spring's talking. And all of a sudden you're like, Spring's been on the call the whole time? Every
The mute button, because I'm walking in and out with the dog.
every person on the call values your knowledge and your experience. So realize that.
Because I have such weird experience to begin with.
She's notorious for growth giggles, and I'm embarrassing her because she's like, Kate, stop paying attention to me now. She has a very low capacity for compliment, and as soon as you push the ceiling on that, it goes into growth giggles. It's one of the many things I love about you. Okay, Stephanie, what are some successes you've had?
Well, first of all, we'll look at her.
Yeah.
I know, right?
We love this.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if the eyebrows are too strong, but I'm playing. I'm so screwed.
No, they look good.
Okay.
What's too
Her eyebrows. No, you have facial expression. It looks really good.
Okay, I was gonna ask about that. I was like,
People always think when they draw on their eyebrows, people always think that their eyebrows are darker and stronger than they thought that they were, and no one else notices. All they do notice is your eyes. When you put a picture on the wall, do you notice the picture frame?
I see the picture because the frame's drawing on here.
Exactly. You don't notice the frame. The frame is always an afterthought. You look at the picture and then you go, oh, and it's framed. But if a picture is unframed on a wall, you actually notice it less because it blends into the wall.
Okay, that was the question I had. I was like, those are so stark. But-
Only to you.
I was gonna say, you look normal to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like,
You just had 30 years of blonde eyebrows. And so all of a sudden to have facial expression, you're like,
It's just like, it's just, no, they're pretty dark. It's just like they finally come in and then they fall out. I always have these gaps. Like, I don't know what that is, but
Get a pencil.
yeah.
yep, get a pencil and then change your part line.
So yeah, the makeup,
Well, the day
I just got it.
the day that I came to work, and it was like, did you change your hair? Yeah. Just the part. I'm like, gosh, it looks like it's so yeah, so my eyebrows got up so high on this side.
It's little changes. Little changes.
little streak.
Yep. I love that your hair is curly.
So working on that. Working, just finding it, I guess, is what I'm playing with. But I think probably my bigger ones were, I got the LLC started, and I've started recording videos of myself or like with the makeup, which is where the makeup came in from. I was like, well, I have to look more presentable. I don't know. It just snowballed. Like everything's been going from
I did not see that coming.
it all just went, and it did seem slow, but yeah, you look back and you go, no, like really, that's been pretty fast.
It's been 3 months.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, but, and then, so I'm trying to change my ideas on money. So I spent like this whole weekend, I did the $1,000 exercise, and then I wrote down all my old thoughts, and then wrote the money letters, and I played, because I like to have cash on hand, not just in the bank. So I was just playing with all the cash I had on hand, or just pretending anyway. And then right after that, like the very next day, I got almost $100 for things, and I was and I was like, you don't find change on the ground very much anymore, but like I'm gonna pick up every penny I see and whatnot. And then when we were cleaning the church the other day, there was 2 pennies, which I haven't seen pennies on the ground since I was a kid, it seems like.
You've blocked
So-
them.
Yeah. So stuff's just been coming, and everything is just opening up. Like I've had all these ideas, it seems like my whole life, but now they're actually starting to take shape. I've always known I wanted to write books, because that's how I started books and things. I was an English major, but like it just never, but like now all of a sudden my sister, she's totally blossoming in her artistic ability, and over the weekend I went to her house and discussed like just ideas I had and characters. Now she's writing characters, so like we're totally getting all the people together to create books or things about birds and things. Everything is just
Kids, I'd buy that.
yeah, you don't find it anywhere.
It teaches kids, then I can understand it.
Just a simple quaint. Anyway, just everything's like I have all these ideas, and it's all starting to take place. So.
That's actually one of my favorite quotes from Einstein is, if you can't explain it simple enough for a child to understand it, you yourself do not. And so I love that you have such a good understanding that you can explain it to a child.
I haven't quite gotten to that point yet, but I can see the avenues. So.
Why do you think I experiment on my kids all the time?
Yeah.
Because if my kids don't get it, what makes me think adults who are full of bogus programming are going to? Who their inner kid is so shut down, and yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that the focus is kids, because that's huge.
Make it simple enough. and I've got the LLC, and I've got website stuff going, and I can use my phone. Like, a year and a half ago, I didn't have a phone, I didn't have Facebook, I didn't have, any of
In
that.
some ways, we've kind of corrupted her. But you have very, in a good way, you've kept, this is the thing that I want to point out that I personally have noticed. You've kept your boundaries. You know why you wanted your phone. You didn't want your phone so you could mindlessly scroll through Facebook because you didn't feel connected to people. You wanted your phone because you see it as a tool.
Yeah.
And by mere default, you had to get a smartphone. So you're like, all right, well, if I have to have a smartphone, how can I use this tool the best possible way?
Got the teleprompter app after the math class. That's what it is. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's a tool for you, and you've maintained those boundaries and stayed true to yourself. And I really want to congratulate you on that, because when I made you go so far extreme out of your comfort zone with feminine energy, and now you've found your comfort zone. You've found where you are you. And that is one of the biggest things that I hope you guys have noticed with this, is that I've tried to push you to your comfort zone and way past, so you can actually find
I could come back to where we were hoping to go.
Yes.
Because over here is really hard.
It's a little hard over here.
This is the 90-pound weight that she just asked me to lift. I was lifting a 10. I now know I can lift 90, but it hurts. And I don't want to. So I'm happy with my 30s. Okay. So that is all of you. I purposefully pushed you. I mean, some of the things that I chose for the lift up and let go techniques touch. Do you really think that was by chance that I was like, oh, I don't know who I'm mentoring. This will just sound good for this week.
And still can't do that. I took
Yeah, I
people all day, and I remember
forget.
like 1 out of 15. And it's like, what is wrong with me?
Go to concentrate on touch, and then that's gone. So in the rest of the day.
So,
I'll go.
Yeah, I need to put a sign
concentrate on
up in
touch.
my office, but people think,
what?
no.
I don't want to go in her office.
Remember to think about touch.
Good touch or bad touch, Natalie?
Whatever you would like.
You can have a code word for touch, and then you can put a sign up.
Yeah.
So that is because, I put thought into everyone that I went, all right, I know where they're comfortable. What's like 6 levels above that? Because if I can get them and show them this is my expectation, even if they don't reach this, you'll still by default up level just by pure awareness. And all of a sudden your comfort zone that was here became where? Here. Awareness is beautiful.
It's been funny though, because I've had this urge to like throw out half of my old clothes.
Do it.
Anyway, just because I'm not sure, because I don't want to get rid of all of the stuff I used to get dirty in, because I might end up gardening or something. But it's just
One
want to.
pair of pants, 1 long shirt, 1 short sleeve shirt.
Like all my plans, I was like, I just want to get rid of those. I was like, are you kidding? That's what I wanted for so long.
Yes. And the reason I say that, we go camping.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go camping in my nice jeans. So I have 1 pair of pants with holes in them, 1 long sleeve t-shirt, and 1 just regular t-shirt that I take camping, because we're never camping for more than 2 or 3 days. And if I'm camping and I don't have a shower, I can wear the same thing multiple days because I'm not going to smell any worse and I'm not going to smell any better. If you're gardening, great. Then you say, every day when I'm gardening, I'm going to wear that same outfit. And at the end of the week, I'll wash it. Because you don't actually get that dirty gardening. What gets dirty?
Yeah.
Things that you're going to wash anyway. Yeah. Because the other thing, if you get rid of all of the clothes that you feel inspired to get rid of, you will actually turn some of your nice clothes
Into that level.
into that level.
So then you're up leveling again.
Exactly.
Okay.
So clothes that used to be my like hang around the house, I got rid of all of them because I was wearing pajama pants everywhere I went. And I actually had to say to my husband, hold on, I'll go put pants I can be seen in public in, because we needed to go get milk. And so I'm like, I'm spending way too much time in pajama pants. So I got rid of all but one pair of pajama pants so that when I go places that I actually have to be in pajamas and not underwear, I have them. But because I only have one pair, I'm not going to wear them around the house. I'm going to save them for when I need pajamas. So because I had none of those, my level of around the house clothes up leveled. And because my around the house clothes upgraded, what did my professional clothes do?
Yeah.
Those upgraded as well.
All right.
Yeah. I had a neighbor in Alaska, and her and I got along really, really well because we loved shoes. And she would garden and she would always have a string of pearls. That was just everything she did. She wore this, and it was a real pearl necklace. And pearls do better when you wear them. But that's not why she was wearing them. She was wearing them to remind herself that no matter what she was doing, she could still be a woman and do it.
I have a friend that gardens in a dress
Mm-hmm.
or a skirt. I'm like, whatever.
Women did it for centuries. And so that is something that, and that is like way extreme. But just something to be aware of as you notice. I just leveled up again. I felt like I needed to get rid of all of these clothes. Honor them, thank them. They served a purpose for you. Get rid of them.
I like that.
I know, to enjoy 'em.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my husband, so he does reloading. And so anything that's flannel, he's like, don't throw that away. I'm like, you have so many rags to clean your guns. You do not need 6 pairs of pajama pants. Well, but these ones, I'm like, I promise, by the time that pile of rags is worn out, I will have purchased new pajama pants by then. And you can have my old ones then. So scarcity got triggered. If I get rid of these clothes, I won't have to fill in blank. So that is, be aware of that and then go, I make enough money. I can go to the DI and buy more work clothes if I find that I actually need more work clothes. Or I can go to a parade over the summer and get a free t-shirt thrown at me. Or there are lots of ways to get work clothes that are very inexpensive. So yeah, this is wonderful.
But I mean, I deposited some things into it. LLC today. It was just,
She's like,
no, it's
I'm a legit business person.
new me. Like I've never been like this before, so I feel like
It's not the new you. It's you finally found you.
figure it out.
You finally found you.
From this to the girl that sat over here in the sweater and the blue jeans.
And she's not here, but I'm totally going to rat your mom out. She sat on the front row
Oh.
at face mapping
Oh.
All day.
all day. And when I said we're doing a group share, she jumped right up, looked at the person next to her, and she said, do you want to be in my group? And I literally went, it's on tape.
Cool.
I was literally like,
Whoa. Oh, cool.
and part of me wanted to just run over there and hug her. And I was like, no, they're doing the group share. Don't interrupt that. That'll be really awkward. I mean, she made sure she was always in one of the smaller groups. So there was 3 instead of 4 in her group, but she still did it.
Oh, cool. Good.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was really excited.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Good.
She sat on the front row.
No, it took her one class to go for a back row to her on. I'm still in the back row.
That's because you're a rebel. That has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with fearing rejection or.
You just better watch out. Somehow be drunk on that.
And then you have Vicky, who I always know. Vicky will always sit on the first or second row on this side. Always. So they're just, Carrie's going to be closest to the exit. And Jana Lee will be right next to her. And
Because we go together.
yep, they're kind of a set. And I'm okay with that. But one thing I will say, if you want to change what you learn from a class, change where you're sitting. Because the energy that you are surrounded with will completely change.
Well, when we came back from lunch, we had to change. So I had to be on the other end, the back row.
Yep. We took a whole row of chairs away and everyone was like,
I know, that is true.
it really messed some people up. And it was hilarious to watch because all we did was take a row of chairs. There was still a back row. It wasn't like we circled up the wagons or anything. And they were like,
You added one on the ends too,
yep.
because there was one more, we did notice that too.
There
Kept.
was just enough empty spaces that I had to add to the row.
Yep. But it brought everybody closer to me.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, yep. Yeah. Okay.
And I have to tell you, I giggled while I took them down.
Oh, we were laughing. Like when she took the back row, we're like, Carrie's family is going to notice.
They were kind of, I don't know, maybe we're on back row. But when my kids were growing up, we sat on the second or third row from the front. The whole time they were growing up in church. Now I'm kind of halfway back and on the side so I can see Jeff on the stand.
Right angle.
Okay. So for this last class, what I wanted to do, first open up just for question and answer. Are there any of the lift up and let go techniques you have questions about? Now that you've been through the process, is there anything that you want to go, why did you make us do that? Is there? What questions did you have? Because there were a couple of things that just by sheer time constraints I didn't get to, so.
I went back and listened to the first class, and then I think I started the physical, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even remember talking about that. That's awesome stuff.
The first class.
It was this one where this little part doesn't balance wheel. I do not even. I mean, I remember, but I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I'm so excited. I sat down and made this giant checklist of like all the videos you have, and I want to go through and transcribe them all. So, my notes bubble. I'm really excited to go through them again.
So, want to talk about a huge undertaking that I did to myself? 64 videos
Wow.
is what Feature Mapping Monthly will have.
Wow, all the little pieces and parts.
Yeah. So anyone who signed up for the certification program, which you are,
Okay.
you automatically got the year membership.
Okay.
So you're with me till August, whether you want to be or not.
I know. I know. I said to Jeff, if I wasn't ever going to see her again, I wouldn't have to do this. He just looks at me.
That's really funny, actually. And do you know what? Do you want to know why you think that?
Why?
Because in my classes, I say, and you don't have to do this. I will never see you again. And what did your brain say?
I'm going to see her again.
Crap, I am going to see her again. I do have to do this. Was that maybe by chance? No. So that's why I say, is there anything that I had you guys do that you're like, what the crap, Laura, why did you do that? Because have you learned by now, is anything I do random or just 'cause?
No, there's a
No,
reason.
there's always a reason. Mostly to push you. Mostly because if you haven't learned this from me by now, I love and accept you as you are. But I know you're not happy stuck. You could never progress again from this moment on, and I would still love you as you are. But would you love yourself?
Not since you just said that, no.
and so
Before that, no.
and so that's
That's why.
yeah, you thought you were.
Not really.
That's when the statement "ignorance is bliss" is actually true.
It is true.
And all of a sudden, someone comes into your life and says, "Don't you understand how amazing you are? Don't you see the people that you could influence and teach? And even if you didn't do any of that, don't you know you have worth?" That's all I want you to learn from me. I just have to teach you lots of stuff on top of that to get you to realize it. Because it would be so much easier to meet you once and say, "Don't you know how special you are? Don't you know you matter?" And you go, "I do. Thank you for reminding me." Think about how much more money you'd have saved.
But then we go home and not remember because we weren't doing it.
Exactly.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
About the forgiveness aspect. Is it, I mean, the 3 words, will you forgive,
Mhm.
versus I ask for your forgiveness. Is there,
One is a pleading.
Yeah.
And it's a worthiness.
okay.
So here's my squirrel. I don't like the word please.
Mhm.
Please requires me to beg. I love thank you. I hate please.
So even if you just say, I ask for your forgiveness instead of please forgive, like, is that energetically equivalent to will you forgive?
Will you forgive me requires them to say yes or no. Please forgive me is you begging. It's you putting yourself beneath them. I'm asking if you forgive me. It leaves them room to go, no.
Okay, so it still doesn't, like, if you ask that, does it still not count?
begging?
It's still begging.
So,
I ask you.
So it didn't do the same deal as will you?
It's a level of, if you're asking or pleading, it's because you need their forgiveness for you to feel worthy.
So it's your,
And the reality is, you don't. Do you know how many people I've flat out said, will you forgive me for that? And I've actually had people both energetically and to my face say, no, that is something I will never forgive you for.
And then you just say,
And I have said, thank you for being honest. And I let it go. And I've literally, in my mind, packaged it into this yucky, gooey ball and given it to the Savior.
You didn't throw it back at him.
No.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
No. Because it wasn't theirs. It was all the yucky I was holding on to, being hurt by them, being rejected by them, being angry by them, being frustrated, being all of the stuff. That's why I was asking forgiveness in the first place, not to heal them,
For you.
because I wanted that gone.
Mhm.
And the yes is a bonus, but it's not required.
It's just asking that. So if you were in their presence and you said, I ask for your forgiveness, now you don't know if you would be in their presence again, do you still need to go back like energetically and ask that?
No.
To really make sure it's
No, because the bigger piece to this is your Heavenly Father went, she asked. The piece you need to work on is, do I feel worthy? Regardless of what they said. Do I feel forgiven from the only person who can actually forgive me?
yeah. That's true.
Do I know I'm forgiven from the one that it matters? The easiest part of saying, will you forgive me, is actually saying the words, Jana-Lee, will you forgive me? And I actually did this the other day. So when people are like, you don't really do this. Oh no, I said something that in my mind was inappropriate. So I said to Jana-Lee, I should never have said that. Will you forgive me for that?
I don't even remember what it was.
It was about your husband. And it was literally something that she had said multiple times, and I snarkily repeated it in an email back to her. And as soon as I pushed send, I went, That wasn't your place.
But it's true. But you know what?
But it wasn't my place. So the very next time I saw her, that was one of the first things. And she looked at me all confused. And I was like, no, really, will you forgive me for that? Because who had been torn apart by that statement, me or her?
Yeah.
She didn't even remember what I had said. And yet it had literally been weighing on my heart that I had put that judgment on someone else. Forgiveness has nothing to do with anyone else. It has everything to do with you and your healing.
Okay.
Does that answer your question though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Because now I can laugh about this story, but if I hadn't had that conversation with Jan Lee yet,
Would you be laughing?
I'd have been like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is what I said to her and I feel horrible about it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, it was kind of funny because it was a reminder to me of how far I've come and how much work I still need to continue doing. Because snarky Laurel still exists. So,
It is hard to give up.
yeah. Did you have, you looked like you were going to say something.
Well, I was just, when she was saying, how did you say it?
I asked for your
Yeah.
forgiveness.
There's a difference just in the wording of hearing you say it that way, or will you forgive me? There's a totally different energy to that.
Feel the actual tone drop. I ask you to forgive me.
I ask. Yeah. Ask.
Will you forgive me?
Will you? Yeah. 'Cause
Will.
Higher.
Will. Okay, so
It gives them a choice.
can I go one level deeper? Free will. You're inviting them to use their free will.
This is being recorded. Great.
Yes, it's being recorded. You are inviting them to use their free will. And so you are allowing them to heal as well.
So it's better for both of you.
Yeah,
Even if they're not ready to do it right then and there.
exactly.
Well, okay.
The actual word will is very powerful. Yeah. And it's funny because often we forget that the whole purpose of us coming here was to express our free will. We call it agency, but it's free will. Will we choose to come back?
We choose the right.
Will.
Mhm.
Yeah. We have forgotten the meaning behind the word will, unless it's willpower. And then is that when I saw it. When I say the word willpower, how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
It's like this heavy, gross, I have none. And so to try and avoid the of willpower, which is false, by the way. Yeah, there's no such thing.
I never found it.
It's just will. Will you choose A instead of B? It's not. Your will is what you focus on. And are you focused on someone else giving you what you ask for? Or are you focused on the fact that you just wanting it, you can have it?
Say that again.
Yeah.
Are you focused on asking other people permission? I ask for your forgiveness. Please, will you forgive me? I beg you to forgive me. Whose will is now in charge of forgiveness? Theirs or yours?
There.
Theirs. Will you forgive me? Puts the power, it actually puts the choice back on me.
If I ask you,
Mhm.
or are you saying that
If I say, Stephanie, will you forgive me? I now have the choice to decide whether or not I'm worthy of forgiveness, regardless of what they say.
Oh, for yourself as well.
Am I worthy of forgiveness? Am I worth forgiving?
Okay.
And when we give our will away, that's when we lose willpower. So people who are in blame have no willpower. But willpower is just the power to choose, and we all have that. So that's why I say willpower is not real.
Yeah.
Everyone has willpower. It's what we choose with it. And I've had someone say, oh no, people in prison don't have choice. Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do.
They do. They have a lot of choices. And the thing is just because you don't like the consequence. Okay, how do I want to, now I don't even remember which book I was reading. I'm reading 4 different books right now, so I'm not going to tell you which one because it'll probably be the wrong one. But what he was saying is that the difference between blame and responsibility is that you can blame someone because he got in a head-on car accident. And he was talking about how he could blame the other person for the 8 weeks that he spent in rehabilitation. With permanent brain damage, he broke basically the entire left side of his body. All of the bones were broken. And he could blame them because the car accident was not his fault. The other person crossed the the center line and hit him head on. He could blame them. But then he still had to take, and blame is not the same as responsibility. So the other person may have been in blame for the car accident, but the other person was not responsible for the choices that the person made after the car accident. And when we refuse to take responsibility, that's when we lose free will, because we give it to everyone else. He's now a multimillionaire and can walk and has no short-term memory because he had permanent brain damage from being in a head-on collision at 75 miles per hour. He's lucky to be alive. And what he did with that afterwards, he was responsible for his recovery. And he was talking about how I could have chosen to blame the other person for my broken body, or I could take responsibility, not for my broken body, but what happens to it. And I thought, that's powerful. So, yes, other people do really crappy stuff to us. That's life. Because everyone has choice. You can blame them, or you can take responsibility for what you are going to do with it. I mean, which book is it? It's The Miracle Morning. It is from that one. Because he then goes on to become the next 3 year. I mean, he lost his girlfriend, lost his vehicle, lost. Had to start from scratch and got it all back plus some. So, yeah, that was a long answer to your question, but
Thank you. No, that's good.
did that help anyone else?
Mhm.
Okay. Other questions? Generally, it looked like you had one.
I don't know what.
Okay. She's like, you took too long. I lost it.
I have a question. This is for message mapping, but
Okay.
there was like the certifications, and then
I haven't mailed them.
Okay, I was like, did I just miss those? Like,
No, I just haven't mailed them.
Okay, you're fine. I just
No, I started filming videos.
got absorbed.
That's on your plate.
I was just wondering if I'd missed it. So. Okay.
No, that was me.
Can I scroll on?
Mhm.
So for feature map, but starting next month,
Mhm.
are we gonna watch a video before we come to the first class? Or are we coming to the first class first?
You will have access to all of the videos before the first class starts.
Like all of them, or
Mhm.
just the videos for class 1?
All the videos.
Oh, okay, and then
You'll have the whole video library.
okay,
And I will say, okay, in this first week, this is what I plan to talk about.
And then
Questions
we
only
can watch
regarding
those
this.
ones.
So watch those videos on your own time. The longest one was 9.5 minutes, which is why there's so many of them. Like the one about blue eyes is like 5 minutes long.
But then they're easier to find
Find,
that stuff.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
So if no one in your family has blue eyes and you don't really care, skip that one.
Cool.
So I will say this. So right now, everyone's going to get YouTube videos, but it's because the lady who's doing all my website stuff is putting together the video library. So before class ends, you will have I log in and I have all the modules. Yeah. So,
Oh,
but but I had to get my part done.
Yeah, can't do that without that part.
Bless my designer's heart. I didn't, and this was my own thing. I didn't realize how much time I think I have that I actually don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
So it's things like I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden my kids have started waking up at 7. And so instead of having 3 hours every morning, I only have 2.
You're like, wait.
Yeah. And instead of going into Psycho Mom and being like, go back to bed, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I
Get up before.
I'm like, I can get up at 4 o'clock. That's so not happening because I have a toddler that doesn't go to bed till 10. So, and there are just things I'm like, and you know what? They know what to expect from me. And if they're not okay with it, they'll stop coming.
Yeah. I said, then they'll get up there and they'll like,
Yeah. Well, that's we're about to change. And no, we do have a rule. They're not allowed to leave their room for anything other than going to the bathroom if there's not a 7 or an 8 at the first of the clock.
Just hang out in your room.
And if it's light enough, you can read books. Okay. Other questions?
I'm gonna give this chance, but it's over.
If we did it, we want to redo it. Just talk.
What does it cost? That's a great question. I would have to look at my phone. I want to say it was like $397. It is May 18th.
oh, did I write?
I thought you did.
I thought I did too, though. I would just double check.
Have you done Spoon Looking Glass before?
Carrie has not, but Janely has.
Oh, May 18th looking, yes, I got it on my calendar.
That was an evil laugh.
I can't even watch.
You haven't watched your video yet? Watch it, because it wasn't nearly as embarrassing as you've decided in your mind that it was.
Last time, I was kind of like, it really wasn't.
Oh my God, it was like big cry.
You need to come so you can be with me.
Well, you're on the stage alone. You actually start by yourself, just standing
Well, I
up
know
there.
that, but
Yeah.
It's not anything. I mean, it's a small group, and you were, you know,
It was,
Yeah.
it's really okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
People work themselves up while they're sitting there and while I'm explaining it. And then I have comments like this. I didn't realize this is what I was signing up for. Well, you're here now. Are you going to stay? So,
Choose.
yeah.
And what you think is not where it goes. Just a heads up.
It's because, so, and I actually had someone ask, how are you able to do what you do? And I very simply said, I have no emotional attachment to your issues. None. I don't know your past experience. I'm not looking through your lens. I don't have your hurt, heart, and broken in me. So it's easy for me to see the splinter that you've let fester.
And she pulls it out.
Then you don't have it there anymore.
So
People coming out.
it is painful, but I never leave you there. So no, that is probably my phone that's in my backpack, if you'll, in one of the side pockets. Okay. Other questions?
So is this membership thing, like in August, do we have the option to renew that again for next year? Okay.
Yep. So here's the bonus of getting in and being patient with me on the starting of my company. You guys will never pay full price for your membership or for the certification program. Right now, I am not discounting my certification program at all. It's $3,200, and you can pay it in one payment of $3,200, or you can pay it in 2 payments of $1,650. There are people that are signing up for the month. It's called Feature Mapping Monthly Mentoring, and I'm selling it as mentoring rather than just a monthly subscription, because who would pay $200 for a monthly subscription versus people would pay $200, $197 to be exact, for mentoring. For mentoring. the really interesting part about that is that so I'm going to the Mesa Energy Healing Conference, and as a pre-launch, they can sign up for $147. You guys will never pay more than $97. I actually think I have you guys on $47 a month if you're doing it monthly. Because if basically all I need is you guys to help cover your portion of the retreat 6 months from now. And that really is how I'm looking at this. It's not that I'm not trying to make money, but there's a loyalty factor to this. You guys have been with me for a really long time. From a bookkeeping, it's a nightmare because I'll have you guys at one price and then the next level of people that signed up at this price and then the new people at this price. But what it's doing is it's requiring me to take really, really good organization and stewardship over my money and the people that are paying it to me. So I have a whole new level of appreciation for the people who, one, have been with me for a long enough time that they're getting the really inexpensive price. And the thing is every single one of you said, that is such a good deal. Out of 12 people, 10 of you signed up. Which from a marketing perspective, I charged way too little for that. So every marketing person that I've said, they're like, you had a 95% purchase rate. You way undersold that program. And I said, no, the people who were in it, I said, they're giving me and they've already given me a lot of their time. And so there are some people that I'm charging them the $197 because for them to take action, having never had a personal experience with me, a face-to-face one-on-one, they need the higher buy-in or they won't take action. And so I know enough about money to know that money is a filter. And if people are paying $200 a month to get a video, 2 phone calls, and basically what you guys got for life mapping, so the video and here's the PDF file, they're going to do it.
Utilize it as much as.
Yeah. So the calls will go to hour-long calls instead of just half-hour-long calls, just because there are more people in the group and I want everybody to have the opportunity to get their questions answered.
I had that thought, our last one, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
all of us with all these questions.
So, I mean, there are just different ways that and this is what I was talking about before class started. If I'd have known beforehand that I was going to turn into this membership program and get people who know what I know and are going to teach classes for me, I would have set my programs up completely differently. But I had no idea what I was doing when I started. I didn't even mean to start a company. So, yeah. And so for me, one of the reasons I want to do a membership is because there are some people who don't live close enough to come in person. And I want people to come and go as they feel like they need to. This is the one caveat. No, it's mine again.
Eat or something.
It's time for the kids to go to bed.
Oh.
It's teeth and jammy time. If anyone ever cancels their membership. So like in August, you guys are like, nope, I'm out. And then you come back in December and you're like, just kidding. You're a new person.
Yeah.
And so you've got to start at the new level. You'll always have access to everything. You'll never lose access to what you purchased. But like the September, October, November, December where you were missing, you won't have that content. So you can't backdate it. It's only for when you were paying. And I did have someone say, well, what if I back out and then I realized that was a really bad choice, but I missed a month? Can I just pay you for that month? Sure. Yep. If you want to pay the $197 you won't get the phone calls back. You'll get the videos to the phone calls, but yeah.
But you're still at the new price,
Mm-hmm.
whether you missed or not.
Yep. Because that's I will let you pay as cheap as I can possibly get you to pay if you'll just stay. If you come and go, there are penalties for that. It's about consistency, ladies. So, I mean, and that's, I'm putting more time into things. And so to make it worth me not spending time with my kids, I have to get compensated for it. That really is my factor. So, and some people understand that and some people roll their eyes at me and I'm like, oh, then you're not my ideal client, are you? Because my ideal client knows that I am a mother and a wife. And sometimes I will say, sorry guys, I have to pause this phone call. I can hear my child puking in the other room.
Oh, now there's two. I got to go.
And there's the other one. I actually, was it this round or was it last round? Was it message mapping or was it a feature mapping call?
I don't know, but I remember one of them.
Yeah.
Because I was late to the call.
Your husband took over.
And then like 10 minutes into it,
Yeah, he's like, oh, but now there's the other one. I have to go. I feel that.
I was like, sorry guys. Everyone in my family is puking. Looks like the exorcist is needed. I gotta go.
I think that's just all awesome. Superwoman power you see in action. You know what you're getting done and what you do. So I think it's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that because in my mind, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to clean up puke if I continue to talk to you. So peace out. I'm done.
No, I think you came back though.
I did.
Yeah, because you,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because you just,
It was quick. Yeah.
Well, I heard them puking because they were in the bathroom already. So I just made sure that they were comforted. And then I was like, are you going to go back to bed? Okay. Ran back down the hallway. And I had to go up 2 flights of stairs for that puking. Have you ever noticed you have like spidey sense when it comes to people being sick? You could be dead asleep in the deepest sleep. And if you hear a child puking in their bed, in their hallway, or in the bathroom, you're like, where's that coming from?
And don't pick him up and run with him.
No.
No, that mistake one.
No.
Stay there. Clean up one spot.
sit across the
Just
whole
sit
house.
down the hall.
You grab the blanket, you can easily wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband made that mistake, which is why I now have pink spots on my carpet. Because he'd had Fruit Loops for dinner.
And it came back up.
And yeah. Red dye 40 does not come out of red carpet, if you're wondering. Okay. Okay, any other questions?
Sorry, I overthought it.
You're totally fine. Nope, I had 2 things planned and the rest I just wanted to leave up to you guys. Okay, so I went back through and I read all of my notes. And the first thing that really stood out to me that was big and like flashing is this phrase. Disorder robs you of energy. Disorder robs you of energy. The other piece to this is that everything you claim as yours, you give energy to. So when we go into overwhelm, part of that is because we've claimed stuff that we don't actually have control over. Like someone else's bedroom or someone else's eating habits. We've claimed control over that, and so it's taking and sucking energy from us. So disorder robs us of energy, and any space you maintain or you claim as yours, you give energy to.
Which is why sometimes I just gotta let it go.
Exactly. Even if it's clothing. Because you still have to launder it. It still takes space in your closet. It still takes space in your drawers. It's taking up space at this level that something at this level could go in.
Oh, I love your comment. You have to get rid of the O to make room for the new.
Yep. It doesn't have a place to fit. If you want better habits, what do you have to get rid of? The old habits. And that's what gets you out of overwhelm. Because if you try to live the new lifestyle with the old habits, you're taking up double the space and it's sucking twice as much energy from you.
So it's like either one or the other.
Yeah, pick one. When you try to live the new lifestyle with the old habits, You have two energies taking up the space of one. And that's why you feel sucked dry and overwhelmed.
The new lifestyle with the old what?
Habits.
Okay.
So you aren't going to wake up early, but you're going to try and work out for half an hour. You're trying to get the same amount of sleep and add something to your schedule. How well does that work?
No.
It doesn't. What if you wake up at the same time, but instead of scrolling through Facebook for half an hour, you go work out? You got rid of the old habit so you could put a new one there. And which one sucks? And the thing is, most of us are trying to replace something that is an energy builder that gives us more energy when we're done, like exercising, like eating healthy, like getting more sleep, like improving relationships, improving our health, improving our money. Those are all things that give us energy. And the lower habits do what? Suck it from us. So this is why this is happening, because you have this high energy give energy with this low energy take habit. And they balance each other out if they're equal. So if you have a habit that's down here, where does your new lifestyle? Can it be here?
Uh-huh.
Where's that gonna? Oh, I'm gonna do it on here to make more sense. So if here's neutral, here's balanced, and you have a new lifestyle that looks here. That's what you want. But your current habit is all the way down here.
Oh, that's not good.
So what's happening? You're being pulled down, and this sucks more energy than this creates. Okay, new color, so there's no confusion. What if here's your old habit and here's your new habit?
You're balanced.
They're balanced. And so there are going to be days where you feel motivated and you feel like doing your new lifestyle, and you'll get it. And there will be days when you're not disciplined and you won't feel like doing it, so you won't get it.
But then the next day you go, so then you go up again.
Exactly. So which is more important, discipline or motivation? Discipline is far more important, because you will have to be re-motivated 3 or 4 dozen times before you get your goal. Because every time something gets hard, you lose motivation. Because now it doesn't feel, I just don't want, it doesn't feel good anymore. I don't want to worry about this. Discipline is what you do even when you don't feel like doing it. Motivation is 100% emotion-based, and discipline is action-based. Has nothing to do with emotion.
So you feel good after.
Because you have a habit here and a lifestyle goal here. Now what's going to happen? Do they balance each other out? No. So is this something that will easily, well, I shouldn't say easily, that will create more energy than this will suck? So look where balanced is, and we're looking at these 2 black dots. Will this create more energy than this will suck from you?
I don't think it can it? It can.
Well, you're higher up, so wouldn't it?
Yeah. So even if it took and brought you down, it sucked your energy that far, because that's how far it is to balance, you're still not imbalanced. You're still in good. We are here. It sucked you to, it's brought you. So if we were to take that and then create the same, it puts you down there. And that's why you feel like your new lifestyle is unachievable. And it's not any better than I've already got. So why keep trying? Is this making sense?
I get that.
So it has to do with the level of your motivation.
Discipline.
Discipline.
Okay.
Okay,
Because
so
what I thought I was getting with the black dot is if the motivation was higher.
No, the lifestyle desire.
Okay.
What you want. I'm going to use this as an example. So you want to do weight or money? Weight, money, no, relationships. Okay, we're going to use a relationship example. You want a certain amount of time. No, we're going to go trust. You have a certain level of trust that you want to build with someone. And all your past experience says, I cannot trust others. The goal that you would probably set for yourself is like here. Are you balanced yet? No. So you have to set a goal, 5, 6 levels, push you way out of your comfort zone so that you're above balanced.
I have to know what that looks like, which is the hard part sometimes.
So this is what I was saying before. So if this is how far, that's how much energy is being sucked by the bad lifestyle. So if I take that same distance,
That's where you're going, Shirley.
no, that's what I'm getting.
Oh,
Because if I still have this bad habit, but I have this dream, this desire, this is taking so much energy out of me that that's as far as I'm getting.
the length of the leash, basically.
Yes. That's the cap on your capacity. So, what does capacity mean? I found out this
How
room,
much as you can hold?
how many people will this room comfortably hold?
Not as many as
25, is that what
tried
you
to put
said?
in here, 'cause that
It will
was
comfortably hold 20.
I wasn't comfortable.
I can fit 27. Not comfortably, but I can fit them. I can arrange things to fit 27 people. 27 people is the capacity of this room. If you want to know what your capacity is for a relationship, how long can you go without talking to someone without creating a story in your head about why you're not talking? If you want to know how much you trust them, how long can you leave them alone with someone else before you start to create a story in your head about what they're doing with them?
That shows you the capacity.
Of trust you have.
So if it's just hours, not very much trust. But if you can go days and be like, okay, how are you doing?
Uh-huh.
Then, okay.
And I literally have our friends that live in New Mexico. I talk to her maybe 3 times a year. But our level of connection is so high that the choices and the connection we create when we're together are only up here. Like our habit is talking to each other 3 or 4 times a year. And that to us is a perfectly balanced relationship. We know if the other one needs to call, they will. And otherwise, when it's birthdays or we're like, hey, I just had a random thought that I should call you. Are you okay? How are you doing? And there's no weirdness. It's not like, why are you calling me? Okay. So we're starting a balanced. So any interaction we have with each other is just building the level of trust and loyalty that we have with each other.
So is that why you can go? I have a friend like that too. And when we talk, it's like we'll talk for hours because we just,
Yeah.
it's like we
But you
just,
can pick up where you left off.
yeah,
Yep.
you don't,
You paused.
yeah, that's it.
You didn't stop the video, you paused it. Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you have other people that your habits together are so corrosive and so yucky that you will actually avoid each other in public unless other people
Force an interaction.
force an interaction.
Oh, yeah.
And so no matter what you do with them, you can't get to balanced.
Because you just don't have that.
So, so this is what I'm saying with this. So if you have people like that and you can't, it's always they're always sucking from you. The new expectation has to be so the opposite that your expectation is, I do not allow anyone in my life that treats me that way.
And they'll go away.
because now you have so much energy. Here, this is how much they suck from you. So they, even when you do have interactions with you, they might bring you down a couple levels, but you're not sucked dry. But for some people to say, you have to completely cut off that relationship. But they're family. Yeah, I know.
Those are the ones
They're
that
the
really
ones
have to
that
cut
cut
off.
off. Yeah.
Just because you're genetically obligated to love each other doesn't mean you actually have to spend time together.
I like that.
So,
Association.
Family by choice.
yeah. We have a lot of family by choice. Not, and I actually get along with my family really, really well. It's my husband's family that we've kind of made replacements. We've created our own. Because the way that we interact with them and the habits we are in and the conversations that we have are down here. And those are not our relationship goals. Our relationship goals are up here. So with money, if you have your goal is to get out of debt, that's balanced. How likely are you to spend money?
Depends on the day.
Because where does that put you?
Definitely.
Yeah. So why do people have a hard time staying out of debt? Because in their mind, as soon as we spend money, we're in the negative. So stop setting your goal to be debt free. Set your goal to be a thousandaire or a millionaire or a billionaire. Something that is so much higher above what you understand that you have to constantly strive for it and change your habits. Because the habits that got you into debt are all down here. These habits will not get you out of debt. They will keep you in it.
And sometimes that requires spending money.
Exactly. And then it's an investment and not a spending. Okay. So what you brought up before with trades and money. I love trades. I'm totally fine doing trades. Don't let trades put a cap on your capacity. Because sometimes trades work out so good that we get used to them and then we stop feeling like we deserve money. That hit a button with every single person in this room. All of you made a noise.
Say that again.
So sometimes we will get so happy with the trade and what it's doing for us that we'll start thinking we don't deserve money. Oh, but look, I can get everything I need with this trade. Okay, well, can you get what you want as well? And at the level you want it. There are all sorts of things that people offer to do in trade for mentoring. And some things I'm like, yes, I want that, but not at the level you can offer it to me. When I worked at the salon, the massage therapist always wanted to, I was a color specialist. And so they always wanted to do a trade with me. All right, so I did a trade with each one, saw which massage therapist was the best one, and who was I only willing to do trades with, and everyone else had to pay me.
Best one.
The best one. I picked the one that I was like, I like your technique the most. You are who I will do trades with. The rest of you, I honor the skill level that you're at, but you have to pay me because what I am giving you is worth more value than what you can offer me.
Ted, you can explain that to them.
Well, that was really easy because I just said, well, I'm already getting massages from her and we've got that trade agreement worked out. So thank you so much. If you want me to do your hair, then I will be charging you and this is the price. And if you don't want to pay, there are a dozen other girls in the salon that would be happily trade for a massage. And I'm not offended by that. Yeah. So I put it on them. I truly am not offended if you don't want to pay me. Then find a trade with someone who's willing to trade.
Because I already have.
Because I already have one. And I already have trades with a foot zoner, so I won't trade with another foot zoner. I already have trades with someone who's a massage therapist, so I won't do trades with another massage therapist. So that's kind of, I'm like, nope, these are what I'm willing to trade for. These are things I'm not willing to trade for, because I personally need to know that I'm worth investing in, and I need to give you money to remind myself I'm allowed to have money. And then it triggers all sorts of things like, okay, but I can only buy things if it's at a grocery store. So I love trades. I think trades are wonderful. I wish more people would do trades. I don't like when I see people who get stuck in the trade capacity, because what that tells me is I'm only worth what people are willing to trade for me. Well, sometimes I'll do a trade plus cash. I will trade a portion of what you would like in services, and this is the difference to make this worth it to me. And I've traded anything from homemade bread to babysitting and everything you could possibly think of in between. I will not trade babysitting for babysitting. To me, that's not a fair trade.
I wouldn't do it either.
I will pay you to babysit my child, or I will find someone else to pay to babysit my child. But it is not worth it to me to have to owe you to babysit your child if you babysit mine. I don't do that. Because some people feel that their child is worth more than yours. So even though you watch their child for 45 minutes, they want me to watch theirs for 3 hours. So I am not a good trade babysitting mom. I will pay people to watch my children.
It's probably because I just didn't want to watch their children. That's more of it.
That would be.
So the other,
To anybody else's.
the other piece, let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is why I kind of wanted this last piece to be about order and energy. And I wrote this down so I could actually repeat it, because you guys are always like, can you repeat that? And I'm like, no. So I typed it out. The spirit is a being of order that has to convince the body of the value of order.
Say that again.
The spirit is a being of order that has to convince the body of the value of being in order. There's more to this, but I'm waiting for that.
Okay, so read that one more.
So the spirit is a being of order that has to convince the body of the value of being in order. So energy has to convince the physical realm that it wants to stay in place. In nature, it does this really easily. Crystals are in perfect order. Plants are in perfect order, to the point that we cannot synthesize it. Crystal quartz is a perfect repeating pattern. Glass is the exact same elements that are not in a perfect repeating pattern. Man has never been able to fully recreate what nature has created in perfection. We have also, every medication that's ever been created is a synthetic version of a plant or a component of the plant. And yet we still can't do it right. So, no, man cannot do what God did, no matter how many times we try. And so the spirit is trying to convince the body or the physical to have to be in order. So here's the next part. The body wants to be free because freedom helps us feel alive. We feel safe when we're free. So the next piece is the body wants to feel free and stay alive. So when there is anything in our life that makes us feel trapped, we feel unsafe. Whether that is time, money, a relationship, food, our house. If there is a space that we spend our existence in, that we feel trapped in, it robs us of energy. And it makes us feel unsafe. We don't like to be trapped. When a baby is born, what is its first instinct? And part of it is just its muscles. But what does it always do? It comes out and does what with its arms and its legs?
Well, where they were.
I know. And so,
Panic.
so as soon, they went from this to this. And so as soon as they know that, as soon as the body knows it has room to move, what does it want to do? Move and spread and take up as much space as it feels like it deserves. And then we come along and go, I'm sorry, you don't deserve that much space. And we go, okay. So think about sleeping in a bed with a child. How much room do they take up?
Okay.
They're the smallest person in the bed.
They sleep sideways.
And they're like diagonal. So children who are in a good, healthy mindset, who feel connected, want to take up a lot of space. That's why they run all over. They feel free. They feel safe. Children who don't run all over, what do they feel? Not safe, confined. So am I saying to give your kids or grandkids or neighbors permission to be crazy kids 24/7? No, they do need to teach themselves order. Okay, so the next piece of this, the mind connects the two.
The body and the spirit.
The body and the spirit. The body wants to be free. The spirit wants to be in order. So the body wants to be in chaos. The spirit wants to be in order. The mind has to understand the two and find a place that it will survive. Well, if it has to pick between, and this is where perfectionism kind of comes in, are we spending too much time in the physical or are we spending too much time in the spiritual? The spiritual.
The perfectionism.
Yep. So people who are prone to perfectionism don't usually ground. They're very disconnected from their body and they're very disconnected from the earth. So when they get connected to their body, they like things to be in order, but it doesn't ruin their day if it's out of order. And I'm sharing this with you in the end because something that has been routine and in order and in good practice is about to end. And I want you to go to look and say, okay, what were the things that kept me in order? Can I continue those on my own? Or do I need to continue with the group calls? Or do I need a higher level of mentoring? And that can be from me or someone else that you know. But if you do not feel like you can maintain the order and the connection to your body that you've created in the last 15 weeks, find a way to get that. If you can do that in a class, get the class. If you can do that in a book, get the book. If you need an accountability buddy that you guys text message each other every day, get an accountability buddy. If you need a personal mentor, get a personal mentor. But help yourself feel freedom and order so you can be connected physically, spiritually, and mentally. But out of the three, the mind, the body, and the spirit, who usually takes over?
Body.
The body. Because if the body feels uncomfortable, it'll tell the mind we're going to die. And then the body will tell the spirit, too bad, you're eternal. What's about to happen to our body doesn't affect you. when our brain is confused and we have two choices, and one helps us be very connected to the spirit, but it makes our body feel uncomfortable.
Like fasting.
Fasting is a really good example. The body becomes extremely uncomfortable, and it tells the brain, if we don't eat soon, we will die. And so your brain will start sending all of these signals to your body and go into panic and release cortisol and make your blood sugar drop to try and get you to eat so you stay alive. And the brain and the spirit is like, no, we're trying to connect to source energy. We're trying to connect to God. And the brain goes, too bad. You're going to connect to him whether the body lives or dies. I have to keep the body alive. End your fast.
That's where you feel out. Like all the acid in your stomach, that's nothing to do.
Yeah. That's why you feel sick and you have no idea why, because your body is or your mind is doing everything that the body is telling it to.
Okay.
So the spirit goes, well, that sucks. And you get a disconnect. We try to get in tune with our body by listening to it, but we do it through the spirit. How well does that work?
That would take skill.
Right. So we go into these high spiritual out of body experiences, and then we go, why can't I connect to my body? Because your body is physical. So one of the last things I want to leave you with is, yes, connect to your body, have conversations with your body. But how often do you actually look at your body? Do you actually feel your body? Do you pay attention to the senses of your body? Do you pay attention to the fact that this has cold air on it and this is protected? Are you aware of what the seat feels like on your bum compared to the back of your thighs? When you're trying to connect to your body, connect to it in the physical. That's where we've lost our connection to our body. And then ask it, is this chair comfortable? No. Too bad. And then you can actually, in some situations, I will say, well, I'm still alive. You don't like these shoes? Thank you for letting me know. We're still alive. I get very aware of my physical so that my spirit can actually connect to my mind, because if my mind is trying to keep my body alive, it'll shut down the spirit. But if my mind, and I say to my mind, tell my body, you're still alive, then your body goes, okay. And it will let the connection between the spirit and the body come back together. So I am trying to, as you are creating order and you're feeling energy being sucked to you, what I want you to check in first is, are your physical needs met? Have you had a drink of water? Have you had any nutrition? Take care of your physical needs before you go straight to spirit. But what are most of us doing right now? Going straight to spirit. And your spirit's like, I'm good, or I'm super sad, eat a donut. Is that donut going to affect your spiritual body? No, not in the least. And that's why we go into comfort eating. So when you are, some of the choices we make, because we are only connecting to our spiritual self, and the physical aspects of it don't affect our spiritual self. And that's why it's like, sure, eat another cookie. We feel better when it's over. And your body goes, no, we don't. And this is programming I found with me recently. To me, one of the reasons I have a sugar addiction is because cookies and baked goods equaled my mother's love. Because that's what she would make us. So when I'm feeling unloved, what do I crave?
Yeah, those things that made you feel loved.
The things that made me feel loved. And I've taught my body sugar equals love. So when my body doesn't feel loved, what will my body crave?
Sugar.
Sugar. Because my body says sugar equals love. Well, my body doesn't feel loved. So what does it crave?
Sugar.
So love your body and the craving will go away. Find out what else your body loves. My body loves lotion. I have really dry skin, and I have tried to drink enough water that it will hydrate itself. And do you know what it told me the other day? You will never consume enough water to balance out our dry skin. You try too hard to take care of too many people. Will you please start drinking collagen? Sure. And now I don't have dry skin anymore. Because 3 times a day, I drink herbal tea that has collagen in it because I have to drown out the taste of the collagen. And lemon tea works the best, in case you're wondering. Lemon, a little bit of honey, dump the collagen in there. But I had to ask my body, what else makes you feel loved?
So is this the connecting to the body through physical sensation?
Yes.
Providing
Mhm.
what
it's actually loving. It loves to be touched. My body loves when my skin is tickled. I love skin to skin contact. I am the mom that when I hold my babies, I don't kiss them on the top of their head. I'm like, give me your cheek.
So I guess it's being aware of what you do love and savoring what you do love and just being connected and enough to recognize it. It's just like, you're walking through a field with flowers. Are you actually smelling it, or you just have this, like offhand thought?
Oh, look, there's a flower.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just to really enjoy the physical experiences and it'll allow your spirit to connect more.
To both the mind and the body and your higher power.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of call you out here. Your body loves to move. It brings it joy to dance.
Yeah.
So to get more connected with your body, what's the easiest way for you to get connected to your body? Dance. Yep.
I love the stretching.
My body loves to lift weights. Mostly because my body's like, we feel so loved when we feel strong. And my reply was, then get leaner. And it said, love us more, and we will. And I said, let's talk about cardio. And my body had like a literal, I have my body so programmed that we will die if we run. That I think if I'm ever in an escape required situation, I will probably have a heart attack. Because I asked my body, I said, well, how do we, I love lifting weights. I have no problem lifting weights. Do you want me to run? And I was like convulsing. It's like, all right, running's a no. How about dancing? How do you feel about dancing?
I kind of had that thought with some of my stuff is because I've been more sedentary than I've ever been for a lot of the last years.
And your body's sad. That's the grief. It's not an external relationship.
Oh my gosh, I was drinking so much the other day. I was like, okay, now what is it? Okay, I just had about Thank you.
You're welcome. Like I said, I have no emotional attachment to it. It's easy for me to see. Okay.
Thank you.
So here is a declaration that I want to kind of pass on to you. I am a being of order and creation. I am a being of order and creation. Because one is the physical and one is the spiritual. I am a being of order and creation.
I love your declarations. You just hit the nail so smack on the head. So
Some people really like wordy declarations. I'm like, if I have to breathe in the middle of the declaration, it's not for me. And some people like really, I am a being of order and creation. And that is kind of my final thought for you guys, is that you are a physical, a mental, and a spiritual being. Are you connected with all three of them? You are a social being. So anytime you tell yourself, I don't like people, that is a lie. We are beings that from the moment of our existence, there were two. No one has ever been put on this earth to be by themselves, whether that is friends, family, spouses, children, neighbors. People thrive and feel more alive when they are more than one. If there's what? Boundaries. You get a gold star. If there's boundaries. And you have them now. You have boundaries. You know that you are a being of creation and order. You've created successes for yourself. You've been accountable to others. You've overcome a level of rebellion. And you were even able to say, nope, I didn't do anything. You've overcome rejection and the fear of having to tell people I failed. I didn't do it. Those are all things that if you acknowledge, wow, I really did do that. You don't call your group because you're looking for acceptance. You call your group because you're looking for support. And every once in a while, you want them to say, no. Because you know they're not rejecting you. They're supporting you. We don't crave acceptance. We crave support and connection. When we crave acceptance, we fear rejection. What we actually want is support and connection. Think about the relationships you have in your life that are actually good ones. It's not because they accepted you. It's because you connected with them and they supported you.
So if you want acceptance, that means
You have a fear of rejection. It's a place to fit in. Belonging means you have a connection. If you want higher successes, connect with people that already have them. If you connect with people that are lower than you, what kind of successes are you going to have?
Lower.
Lower. But you want to know why we do it? Ego.
Higher one.
Because then we're the pretty friend. Because then you're in comparison.
I like that. I like judgment, remember?
Nope, that is 100% other people speaking to you. Because every interaction I've ever had with you has been love and kindness and connection. When you call yourself judgment, part of me goes, where are you getting that from?
My head.
Everyone who's ever told you you were snotty.
No, but it's when I look at someone and I'm like, oh my gosh. I have to remind myself, that is your sister, or that is your brother. Don't think that.
Cast out that devil. Because it's probably a whole legion.
There's so many.
I know.
There's way too many.
Book on this.
So,
We find it. You gotta know where to buy.
so this was a literal conversation. I'm going to squirrel. A literal conversation that we had yesterday while putting dishes together. So, Mom, I heard this is Hatcher, 4 years old. Mom, I heard this voice in my head and it told me to hit my brother. Was that the devil? Yep. What did you say to him? Jesus wouldn't like that. And then, Mom, he got really angry. That's because you said Jesus' name, buddy. And when we choose what Jesus wants, the devil's really sad and he gets really angry. Well, he was mean. I don't want him to be happy. And I said, that is a really good choice. So what do you need to do to keep the devil away from you? Listen to Jesus. Yep. Gold star for you.
Yeah.
I said, so it's really important that you remember that voice you heard, because all of the choices you've ever made that are bad choices probably came from that voice. And he sat there for a second and he goes, no, sometimes I'm just mean. All of you had the ability to do that when you were little, but no one taught you to listen to it.
We don't talk about,
No.
Even
You don't
now,
talk,
if
the
people
people don't.
like, you bring up entities or adversarial, and they're like,
So,
I don't have that.
Yeah.
No, like,
so
They'll
this,
freak out.
well, so this is the next part. I said, so buddy, what do you need to do? And he goes, Jesus says to go away and not come back and bug me anymore.
that's so cute.
So how do you feel now? He left. He wasn't very happy about leaving, but he left. So when you wake up in the middle of the night, sweet boy, and you feel icky and you want to be under your covers because there's something in the room you don't like, what do you need to do? I said, why don't you raise your arm? He goes, it'll be out of the covers. Because I love my children.
It's true, it's too cold.
And I said, here's the thing. As long as you call Jesus to you, the devil has to leave. Okay, Mom. Okay. So now you know what no one told you when you were little. And when you ask for the Savior to be with you, the adversary has to leave. And so do his minions, if you call them out. So we've spent all this time thinking about, okay, these are these positive things to be aware of. And just like Janley said, but we don't talk about any of the other stuff. Well, I do. So if you're having a crappy day and you have no idea why, and your physical needs are met and you're feeling safe, pause there. Are you really? And ask yourself, am I alone?
You're not.
You'll get a no. And then you say, are those that are with me good? And if you get a yes, then move on and say, are they giving emotions to me that aren't mine? Can I return them to sender? And if you say, are those that are with me bad? And you get a yes, then cast out. What is so freaky to people about raising your arm and saying, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to go?
Because they don't want to believe that he's real.
Well, whether you believe it or not,
He is.
I'm going to say the same thing that I say about chakras, that I say about energy work, that I say about sexual assault, that I say about debt. Just because you don't want to talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah.
But bringing awareness to it helps our body feel safe because it takes us out of shame. Shame hides us from God. Why would the adversary want us to feel shame about casting him out?
Can you say the thing you said before?
Start it for me.
I think you said it helps our body feel safe. Or
Yes. So when our body feels safe, now I totally lost it. What else did you guys write down? You're going to have to watch the video.
Yeah.
I guess I. Something about shame, feeling
Oh.
shame.
Yeah.
So the adversary, when we feel shame, we hide from God.
So the shame would be bring it up because that's, and then my body's just working out for some reason, like, you know.
Yes. So here's the really funny part. When people talk about the adversary, their body language changes. It's really hard, even on stage, for me to stay with shoulders up and in a strong position when I talk about the adversary, because every part of me wants to shrink away. So the whole reason I was telling you about my conversation with my 4-year-old is because this is how it ended. Hatcher, no matter how strong the devil wants you to believe he is, you will always be stronger if you listen to Jesus. And he goes, okay. But if we're in shame, do we feel strong? And if we're in shame, our body, we try to make it smaller. Not healthier, smaller. People who are having a hard time releasing weight, it's because they're shaming themselves into being smaller. not stronger and healthier. Being strong and being healthy are actually very righteous and good things. Being smaller keeps us in shame. And when we are in shame, the adversary, he puts us into shame because then we hide from Heavenly Father. So that's why he whispers, "Generally, you're so judgmental."
Because of how we can approach God.
Because if you're judgmental, how likely are you to pray?
That is, I feel like you can, yeah.
Well, I don't want to be judged how I'm judging everyone else, so I'll just avoid him entirely.
Yeah. It's just a whole conversation.
Does the adversary know the scriptures too?
Uh-huh.
So does he use them against us?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Judge not, lest you be judged, generally. Well,
Like all the scriptures on like rich people too, like wealth and riches and stuff. As I've been going through it this past time, like all the times I've marked it, stuff I'm like, all right, these are right. And then I have a different color for like abundance and wealth now, so I'm like remarking them all in like, you know, totally different light. But
from the lens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The different ones. But I was actually really surprised, like as I was going through, I was like, oh my gosh, like how many times I've like specifically marked it that way. Like, and I don't have any particular recollection of doing that. It's just been like my whole entire life. For some reason, that's just been the light that it's been.
program.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just been really interesting how much I've had to erase that.
Pauses matter. My friend posted this on Facebook. I asked my husband what he was doing. He said, "I'm looking for a picture of Jesus and a stapler." She goes, "There are no pictures of Jesus with a stapler." He said, "I didn't say I was looking for a picture of Jesus with a stapler. I said I was looking for a picture of Jesus, pause, and a stapler."
Yeah.
Most of the scriptures about wealth,
There's a comma.
there's a comma,
Yeah.
and we've removed the comma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, yeah.
Pauses are important.
I have found some pretty cool ones though. Like one of them, it's in Galatians somewhere. I shared this one morning, but it was you're called to the apostles, and it's like you're called to a life of liberty. And there's a footnote at liberty, and you look at it, and it actually says abundant,
Mhm.
and that it's to be used to serve your fellow men and not to consume it on your own lusts or something like that.
Mhm.
So be abundant, not just so you can have your own little, you know, vacation party, but you know, to actually be able to benefit other people.
Even the lust part, to me, means your vices,
Mhm.
not your,
It's your vices, not your desires.
yeah.
Gosh,
You can have a desire to go on a really cool vacation if it strengthens the connection
with your
With your
family,
family.
with your family.
your kids.
That's not a lust. That's not a vice.
Yeah.
Lust isn't always bad. Lust is another word for desire. It's just been, in a lot of scriptures, it's been mistranslated.
It's only a sexual.
Yep. It's been corrupted. Lust isn't actually bad. Lust is a form of love. It's,
It's the world that's tainted.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
the whole thing again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that extra.
Yeah. I love that, Carrie. Okay. So I want to just kind of end there. That's kind of a weird end because I went on a tangent, but I guess my final thing for you is you are a being of order and creation. What are you creating and what level of order are you doing it at? What are you creating and what level are you doing it at? Take one more step.
Yeah, if you can up your level, you up your creations by a bit.
Yep. So
So say that one more time.
you are a being of order and creation. What are you creating? And on what level of order did you create it?
So that day that I got almost $100, just like bing, 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 like that,
Mhm.
it was after, so I'd done all those things to change the mindset and, you know, new view on money, but I also got a really specific, like much more organized budget. Like I've always had one, but I got much more detailed on it. And I even told the group, like, I'm so much more organized, right? Money's just going to start flowing. And I was just joking. And the next day I was like, it actually happened. I was like, now that I had ding, 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 you know, I could itemize everything. It just like came. I was like, whoa. So that's cool.
Yep. The more order I am in before a class starts, first, the more chaos the adversary tries to send me. But second, the better my students learn and the more people I have purchase in at another level. So I no longer blame my audience for their money issues if they don't purchase into another class. I know it was me. I was not in a level of order that was beneficial to them.
To have that flow through.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool because once you're done, like I felt so energized. I mean, you think I'd be so meticulous and enter all these little cells, but I felt so energized and like it can all come now because I've got a spot for it all. It was just really cool.
And then it did.
Yeah.
So did you honor what you had created? Because that's how long it'll stay.
Like
So the money came. Did you put it where you said you were going to put it?
I haven't entered it into my worksheet yet, but physically entered it.
That's why it stopped.
Okay. Because I have that on like weekends is like budgeting. So
Okay. So when money comes, if it becomes stagnant, it stops.
because you weren't using what you created to keep it in order.
But if it comes and you put it, I don't wait for days and days and days to cash a check.
You can do mobile deposit
Mhm.
on your
that's
phone.
right.
Yeah,
Like,
so
take
they
a
can go
picture of
right
it.
in.
Yep.
Get a check, it goes right in.
I totally forgot about that. Because my thing is like, look, they're out there, the bank's in
No,
there.
no, no.
Okay.
Just take care of it.
One more reason why you were supposed to get a smartphone.
Yeah.
So money comes in, you put it where you already assigned it, so more money can come. Mhm.
I can get better at that part.
But we stash it because we go into scarcity.
What if we like to have it?
Well, that's a safety net,
I just.
and you
love-
purposefully stash cash.
Okay.
Do you have a limit on how much you stash?
Oh, no, it can go as high as it wants.
If you want more in other places, say this is in a percentage. Because if it's a percentage, there's no cap on it.
Oh.
If you say, I can have $200, I can have $200 in this envelope. Then as soon as you get $200 in the envelope, you'll stop getting extra money. But if you say 10% goes here, 10% goes here, 10% goes here, my envelope, one time it's $1, the next time it's 150. Percentages are a really good way to not put caps on money. So, okay. I will leave it up to you guys to decide what you want to do with your calls. The number is yours. I will get this video processed as quickly as possible because I have to get stuff packed up to leave for Mesa, Arizona. So you guys are welcome to stay and hang out and chat if you want to. I will be packing up boxes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you just stop recording?
Yes.
Okay, I